start a little bit about my journey, and then we can go along with the journey of Pratham. You must have been listening to this word Pratham. What is Pratham, and what did we actually do? So we'll come to that. So I'll little bit tell you about myself. So I did my BTech plus MTech, entire post graduation in aerospace engineering from IIT Bombay, which is one of the premier institute in India. And while I was doing my graduation, I came across a project which changed my life, and that is Pratham. So I would not say Pratham is the name of only a satellite that we built. It's an entire project. It's an entire a bundle of dreams which took each one of us to a next level. So Pratham was the one that changed my life. I joined Pratham as a team member. I was working in one of the subsystem in mechanical. Then I learned a lot more. I went into electrical and explored other areas as well. Being an aerospace engineer, I'm proud that I was working in each and every subsystem. I got that chance. I was not limited to one. And then slowly till the end of my graduation, I was promoted as a team lead. So I was the first lady, first girl, you can say, who led the satellite project, which was running through nearly 8 years. And I, along with Ratnesh, he was not able to join today, but we both of us were the last project managers who finally ended the project and took the satellite to the launch pad. So that moment, actually placing something which you have built for so many years with so much of hard work, and then placing that satellite model through your hand, by your hands only, and keeping it on the launch pad, that moment changed us a lot from inside. And from that day, I started believing that not only education but the projects like this brings a lot of confidence in you, right? And after that, none of us stopped. So that was a kind of our first step towards infinity, because we started thinking infinitely strong dreams. After that, we thought that, okay, we did the satellite at this stage, now what next? It has to be something bigger than this. So each one of us who were involved in that project, somebody is in scientist in NASA, somebody has even started their own space company in India, the first rocket company. Somebody has started working on the more critical parts of the satellite. So everyone is doing great, not only in space field, but in every field. Like now our Earth is facing challenges with global warming and many other things. So people are so much enthusiastic. They are trying to solve different things. So that's why we call Pratham a journey of dreams, a step towards infinity. And that's the journey I started. And after that, I also worked in some of the projects with the DRDO, which is Defense Organization in India. I was working in missiles and unmanned air vehicles. And I also became part of a space company. I was a chief operation officer of a space company. And while I was working with that, I realized that I want to use my knowledge of technology and space to solve more of a grassroots problems. That's why I found my own company afterwards, which was a G-Tarang Energy, and aim to solve energy-related issues of rural farmers. So that is about me. But today, definitely, I'm not going to talk about me. It's about Pratham. It's about that journey, which I'm sure you are also going to get inspired people. Like, if you, the only thing that you should remember is that you should not limit your dreams. If you start thinking that, okay, currently I have these many skills, I should not dream to that level. So I believe that you dream of an Everest and then build your skills accordingly. So dream is very important. That's why we thought our organization should ignite dreams in young people. Rest of the things will be definitely taken care of by kids only. So that was the motto, and we started this organization, Dream It to Do It. And we have done lot many workshops in India, and now we are international also with you people. And that was the journey. We started only 6 7 months back, and I'm telling you, it was an overwhelming journey, and we never realized that students, teachers, and schools need so much, and especially in lockdown when entire world is suffering from corona, and kids are so enthusiastic to learn new things in space. So that was a great journey so far, and we are excited to come to your school and talk to you now. So yeah, kids, now let's come to Pratham. So before we talk about Pratham, a small thing I want to share about space. You can see on the screen that there's a beautiful quote from Albert Einstein that the problems that the situation that created those problems, sometimes you have to go above those situations if you want to solve those problems. So, in a simple language, I'll just define what it means. Imagine you are lost in a dense forest, and you don't know which way to go. You want to go, you should go towards north or south or east, which is the nearest way towards the livelihood, right? You don't know. But imagine your friend who is flying in a helicopter above. That friend can see the entire jungle, so he or she can definitely tell you, okay, dude, you should go towards left side or towards the right side or towards the north side, and you will be able to solve your issue, your solve problem, right? It simply means that sometimes in the problem we get so involved, it's become very difficult to solve it. So we need a next level of mindset, next level of thinking to solve it. And that's what space does for our home earth planet. The satellites are so important that it sees the entire earth from so much above that we can identify not only problems but also the future of our planet. You know that we are talking to each other because of internet. That is the power of satellite. We have internet, we can connect with each other, being so much distant, we are talking to each other. We have our mobile phone connections, we have so many amazing things to learn on internet. YouTube, Google, everything is there. So these things are there. It means that satellites has so much power for the mankind to learn more, to enhance their living. So that's why satellites are so important, and we always encourage people or always encourage kids that we are not saying that you start making your career in the first go in the satellite in space, but start learning those things, because there are things beyond this planet earth. There are things which can take you to the next level, like sir just told that you can study about time dilation, can study about how the mass increases and becomes infinite. So this is such an amazing concept, right? And so these things can take you to the next level, and that's why we call space a drawing book. It's a famous movie. I don't know you have seen or not. It's a famous movie called Swadesh, and so what Shah Rukh Khan was trying to tell kids that you look into the sky and you can find out that when these stars are seen collectively, they can do wonders. You can see a small X that is forming, X that is used to plow the field. You can see a bundle of stars which are doing a blacksmith's job. So what he wanted to say is space is teaching us the teamwork and the unity as well. So you can find out different ways to learn from space. If you go inside the darkness, you can search new black holes. If you go towards a star, you can come out with new galaxies. You must be knowing that recently some students have explored new stars through their own telescopes at home, which scientists couldn't find out, right? So these are amazing things that kids are doing these days. So you can also do, just that you need to dream about it. So now coming to dreams, we all have kind of similar dreams, which I'm sharing with you. Just just think in your mind, like even teachers can think. Every one of us dreamt that we want to roam around whole world one day, right? Every one of us had that dream. We also dreamed that we want to touch the sky. We want to go, we want to see what is there, uh, like when we will be above the sky and we will be watching towards earth, that scene would be very wonderful. That kind of thought process itself give a goosebump sometimes, right? So these two dreams we also had. We means the Pratham team, each and every member of the Pratham team also had those dreams. And I can say that I built something which is fulfilling those two dreams. So Pratham is a satellite which is revolving around Earth at 7.8 kilometer per second. So if I say so much of speed, just imagine that if I start from here in India, I'll reach your school in next around 5 minutes. With such a speed, it is going towards Earth, going around Earth, and seeing the whole world, right? The next thing is, it has also gone beyond the sky. It's not only touched the sky, it has gone beyond that. So these this way the entire team completed their dreams, and that is why it's a journey of our dreams. So now here I'll talk little bit about satellites with you. What is a satellite? I know you kids are very smart. Now everybody know what is a satellite, but I'll talk about how satellites are made, what are the important functions in the satellite, and you will realize that it is so much easy to understand. There is nothing called rocket science in it. Trust me, at the end of this workshop, you will realize there is nothing called rocket science. What makes it difficult is not the knowledge that goes behind it, but what makes it difficult actually is the kind of sincerity, the kind of perfection you need to have in the aerospace field. So you can see on the slides that there is a there are three antennas, three silver lines are there. So those are the communication antennas. So like we are speaking to each other, we have mouth, we have ears to talk and listen to each other. The same way satellites also have antennas to communicate. When they are launched in the space, they communicate through signals towards earth, and here on earth scientists like us decode, get those signals, those scripted and secret signals. We get those signals, we decode them, and then try to figure out the meaning of it. So that's a very interesting process. If you have seen in some movies, that comes in a kind of Morse code, ting ting ting, there's a sound in it, and then you decode that sound having an headphones on your ears, and then trying to figure out what does it mean, whether your satellite is actually working fine or not. It's a very interesting job, I'm telling you. So, and sometimes these people who hear those sounds, they become so accustomed, then they can get the sounds from aliens as well if they exist. So that's a very exciting job, right? So that's about antennas. They are the ears and mouth of satellite. You can see the golden color layer over the satellite. That is, I can say, mask of the satellite. We are wearing mask these days to protect us from virus. In the same way, satellite wear mask to protect itself and its components inside the satellite from the harmful rays of sun, because sun also have some harmful rays, radiations, which can harm electronics inside the satellite. So that is there. Next thing, you can see solar panel. Definitely, like we need food for energy, in the same way satellites also need energy. So the sun is the only source there up there. You cannot have a wire cable from earth towards satellite, right? So that's why the sun is there to supply energy in the form of solar energy, and that solar energy is then converted into the more usable form for the satellite. And next, some components you might not be able to see, but I can tell you those components are like eyes. So when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you. So that's why satellite also need to see towards earth when it is talking towards earth, to earth. So that's why it needs sensors to see whether it is pointing in the right direction or not. So these are the things which made the satellite. And it's very, I'm telling you, at this time when I have made one satellite, I have been part of many missiles and other programs. All of these space technologies requires the knowledge which you are getting in your school, which you will get in your college. Nothing else. Everything is there in books. Those concepts are there. You just need to keep on adding your knowledge to a next level, take it to the next level, and you will be also able to make such wonders. So these are not difficult. So now I'll come to how we started. And you can see in the picture, there are so many students are there and we are cheering up happily. So this was the day when the satellite was actually launched. And after 8 long years, we were so happy, and we were like I can say that each one of us were cherishing that moment with the thought that whatever we did, what we invested time and our whole energy in something, and finally it took off with the dreams of everyone. The entire nation, the entire university was so proud on us, and that's the happiness you can see in the picture. But how did we start? What made us to start this? So it was a spark which came from the workshops like this only. So the kid like you was, his name was Saptarishi Bandyopadhyay, who started this project. So he was also attending one of the workshop, and he saw one professor in Japan. He was telling that his students are planning to make something in the space technology, some telescope or some satellite on that. And then he realized that why not Indian students have ever thought about it? Like, what do we lack? We have knowledge, we have book, we have our great professors and teachers. What do we lack? We lack just, at that moment of time, we just lack that dream that we can do it. And that question, why not we, that changed the life of that person. So he started thinking that yes, we can also make the satellite. He went to his professor, he told about this dream, and then professor told, okay, you can do it. Definitely nobody is going to stop, but you alone cannot do it. You need to have dreams. Go and convince your friends if they also believe in your dream. So some of his friends actually make fun of him that you are talking rubbish. Satellite is not a job of kids like us. It's a job of gray-haired big scientists. What are you talking about? But some of his friends actually believed in him, and all of the team members, they started grouping together, and then slowly the journey took off. So that's the power of dream, kids. And whenever you always have some goal in your mind, like whenever you study in general, you need to clear that exam, for example. So that is called mission of your study. But if you want to become, let's say, doctor or scientist or pilot someday, that is the bigger vision of your life, right? In the same way, satellites also have mission and vision. So mission was to measure the electrons in the ionosphere. You will study about it definitely when you go in your classes. But in a simple words, I can say this: counting the electrons in the ionosphere level of atmosphere actually helps in predicting lots of natural hazards on Earth, like tsunami, earthquakes, and like this. So that was the work of satellite. And vision was that whatever we are learning today, it should not get limited to us. It should be, this knowledge should not be contained within us. It should be given to all the students across world. So that's why we are conducting workshops like this also. At that moment of time after the launch, we did 2 3 workshops in India, and actually some of the college students started making a satellite, and one of them actually launched after a few years. So that was a feeling. Just imagine the kind of feeling when you solve the question in your exam, and after that teacher asks you that hey, can you teach other students and tell how did you solve it? That kind of feeling that you have now, just multiply that feeling 100 times. That kind of feeling we have, that whenever we transfer our knowledge, whatever we learned, it's that feeling that you should also incorporate in your mission and vision, that whatever you learn, whatever you whenever you grow, keep transferring that knowledge to your friends, your juniors, keep learning always. And when I was talking about space and satellites is not a rocket science, it requires the kind of professionalism and quality. So why I'm saying this is a very, you should realize that. Uh, so kids like you make these days, for example, a quadrotor or a robot control car or anything you make on Earth. If something goes wrong, you can always correct it, right? You have your equipment with you. You can always try to figure out what went wrong. You can call somebody for the help, right? And you can rectify that problem. But imagine once the satellite is launched in space and then you face any problem, you can't send an astronaut there, right? It's going to be very costly. Like sending an astronaut, finding in so much, there are so many satellites up there, and finding your satellite, where is it moving, and then trying to figure out the problem in the space. It's going to be dangerous for astronaut. It's not possible. It's impossible at this stage, right? So that's why we call it that space doesn't give you second chance. Definitely you will fail, you will get success, you will keep learning, but once you are launching your satellite, once you are launching your rocket, you cannot change it after that. Either you have to call your mission failure if it fails, or you just abort the mission and let the rocket blow, right? You have must have seen in many videos that sometimes scientists gave that command that the rocket is going in wrong trajectory, just make it blast, because you cannot risk life of others. So that's why whenever you are working on space technology, you have to be 100% sure, 100% perfect in each and everything. You cannot misplace a wire, a single wire, you cannot misplace a single screw. So that kind of perfection, the quality which makes it difficult. But the knowledge that goes behind it, behind this, is definitely you are already learning in your school, you are already going to learn in your college. So, and the second most important thing, whenever you work in such project, I have already talked about it in some manner, but that is the team. So imagine, children, that there are two teams. There is a team A and team B. Team A has, like, you are making a cricket team, for example, of your school, and team A has brilliant batsmen and brilliant bowlers, and all of the students, all of the players are brilliant in whatever they do, but they always keep on fighting with each other. They don't respect, they don't like each other. And there is a team B, which they don't know how to play too much. Like, they have some knowledge but not that level. They are not as good as team A people, but they don't quarrel, they don't fight with each other. They know how to do hard work and they know how to learn. What do you think, which team will win at the end? Team B, right? Because they know how to do hard work, they don't quarrel with each other, they don't fight, and they respect. So that's why this is a quote from our very my just senior project manager, who told me that, Manvi, whenever you think that you are failing, Pratham, don't ever think that it's the technology, it's the project that is failing. It's the people that are failing. Because you will never fail in any project in your life, trust me, kids, unless you think that it's time to stop working. That till the time you are working on that project, the project always have chance, may not be 100% chance, but it will definitely have at least 1% chance of being a success. So it's a time when you stop thinking that I can be, when you think that, okay, I cannot make this happen, I cannot do this project, that time the project or anything get failed. So remember that thing, that people is very important. Not only you, your team is very important. Everyone should be motivated when they are working on such thing. And here I just want to say, when you are motivated, it will come from inside, that you live life for that one particular dream. So I will tell you that when we were working in this project, we used to wake up in the morning around 6-7 o'clock, And then from 8 o'clock we used to have our college classes, so we cannot skip our classes, right? Because what making us to work on this project, so that is also important. So we were attending those classes, and after the classes we used to come back at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and then from 5 o'clock onwards till 2 a.m. sometimes, yes, 2 a.m. we used to work hard. And then again we used to wake up at 6 7 o'clock. So this is, I can say, is the lifestyle of each one of us, and not only for 6 months or 1 year. It is a lifestyle of more than nearly 8 years. So when you are so much into your dream, you forget about anything, like anything else. These things doesn't bother you. You work, eat, sleep, everything there only. So that was a kind of life, and I can say that those were the best moments of my life. And I really can say that the not only the best but the most productive Manvi Dhawan, if I can imagine, were those days when I was working for my dream. I'm also working for my dream today, it's also, but that kind of initiated, that got kind of sparked in me that Manvi, you can do anything when you can live this life happily. Happily is the important word, happily. So yeah, and yes, so this is the man which about whom I was talking about, Saptarishi Bandyopadhyay. He's currently in NASA, uh, working on some of the rockets and fuel technologies there, and he's still inspiring. I can tell you. Then when I joined the college, I joined the team. He had already graduated from college, but whenever I speak to him, even during the launch when we were talking that Saptarishi satellite is going to get launched, he was so inspiring, he was so humble. He always told us that this money, I'm just betting on this, that this moment is going to change your life. And he was very much right, because that actually happened. So he is actually a great personality, and I can tell you that this personality doesn't like come from birth. You actually slowly when you work on such great things, when you work on your dreams, you will also grow like this. And people will start loving you, start talking to you. So, and after Saptarishi, there were other seven generation of project managers. You can see me on the just second last. Ratnesh and I were the last project managers, and the satellite took off towards infinity. So this is our the whole journey, and we got so much recognition, not only in India but all across the world after that. And yeah, so now I just want to here I want to tell you that whenever you work in your project, remember that there will be times then you will also feel down at some time. So it will be like a movie, proper movie. You will be sometime having great fun in working, sometimes you will feel down, sometimes you will get lower marks in your college as well, in your school as well. But your parents, your teachers, and you will also understand in the longer period of time that whatever is important, whatever was important, you were doing that thing, and it was actually worth it. So I'll end my journey, my discussion with a small story. So when the satellite got launched on 26 September 2016, I remember that day. So I told you that satellite transmits signals and tell us that it is working fine up there. And in space field, if you are if you're launching something of crores of money, you want it to be perfect, right? So otherwise, if it fails, generally people call it, you threw a stone, you threw another piece of debris in the space, and you are polluting that. So you don't want to be thinking that you spent so much time of your life in something and it is called a debris. So that moment of getting the signal is equally important to the moment of launching the satellite. So we were waiting in the evening when the satellite will come above IIT Bombay, and it will start sending the signal. And we were waiting, but we couldn't get the signal. So we suddenly, you can say that something, some the entire happiness, the entire flow of excitement suddenly went away from each team member. So then we were trying to figure out what could have gone wrong. We were trying to check the wires of our ground station. We are trying to see the weather. If it is because of weather and cloud, we didn't get the signal. Then next day we again tried, we couldn't get the signal. And the same people, the media people who were encouraging us that you did a great job, marvelous job. The next day they started speaking to us like, "What happened, Manvi? You threw some stone in the space or something?" Just imagine what happens when you go to your extreme high and then you are facing extreme low. And in the evening, on the same evening, we were called by Governor of Maharashtra. He's a great man, and he called us to felicitate us. Everyone, generally, everyone would be happy if you are getting felicitated for something and on a national level, of a state level. But we were not at all happy because we were thinking that if somebody asked us that what happened to satellite, we cannot say anything. So, but this is the picture of the red and green bus that you can see on the screen. That is the bus we took from our college to the governor residence. And in the bus, we got a message from a college in London, and they told us that Manvi, Team Pratham, we got something from the satellite. We received something. Can you decode and confirm whether it is Pratham? And then imagine the amount of kind of excitement plus fear plus the mixed emotions were there in our mind and heart. We were trying to download that file in our mobile, and you can see these wavy lines. You get those lines when you download a file, and then by just listening in a full traffic, we were trying to listen it. And then the communication person, the girl who is responsible for communication in the satellite, she told us that yes, it is Pratham. And then we broke into tears. So that moment again brought us back into our life. We have like those previous 2 days were like a kind of roller coaster ride for us. And the final day of getting the signal, when our baby started calling, imagine when your little brother or sister, whenever you had in your lap, and when that first time he tells you that he calls something, he say something, that kind of happiness, that was our baby and it started saying, and it was a great moment of happiness. So just remember that anything can go wrong, anything can go, you can go to worst scenario also, but never lose your heart, never think that you did something wrong. If you have done everything with your full hard work, dedication, with the full quality and perseverance, these things will definitely give you fruits of your success. So that's about Pratham and journey of me and entire team. And kids, IDYM will definitely be with you. You just need to start dreaming. You can make your own space station. You can make your own ISRO and NASA. You need not join them. You can make your own, and you can start your own space program one day. And I'm sure that one day each one of you will start giving such lectures, uh, with immense knowledge, and start teaching other juniors, other kids in your school and across the world. That's all from my side. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any question if you have. Uh, Definitely, you can keep messaging in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure coming forward and sharing my journey, sharing my thoughts about space exploration. Uh, Actually, I was just thinking, what would be the best way or the best, uh, like, uh, you know, like, uh, inspirational thoughts or journey and everything. Hello, is the screen visible? Hello,
Yes, it is
is the
visible.
screen
Yes,
visible?
it is visible,
Okay,
sir.
sure. Okay, yeah, thank you, thank you. So, what I did was yesterday night I was just thinking what would be the most beneficial points that I can collect and put it forward, because we do not have much time in hand. And then I have read done the whole slides, and then I thought this should be the first slide that we have to go through, is is your moonshot, right? So as Manviji mentioned about her journey and the dreams that she had, and the way she, like the whole mindset that she carried from the initiation till the completion of the whole project. So I really like this picture because you can see this curious small child just trying to look what's beyond, and this kind of curious mindset should always be there amongst all of us. But then again, the interesting thing is when we talk about curiosity, there is an intellectual part that we kind of forget, right? So we have to be intellectually curious. We should be, when we all these things, and then again, when I have achieved some degree of success or some degree of knowledge, I would say, then can I come back to my motherland and can I, give back to the students community and be the mentor for them? So that was the initial thought. And scientifically speaking, we are all fascinated about how we came into being as of now. So this is kind of a assumption that's made that Big Bang theory started around 13.8 billion years ago, from today's date backwards, and the life on Earth, it started around 4 billion years ago. But the interesting thing here is, now when we talk about 4 billion years ago, we are talking about the life that started with the dinosaurs, not us, because our existence on this particular planet is only recent to 1.5 billion years ago only, because dinosaurs also had a huge amount of time that they have spent. When we study the fossils, we understand, like the life of dinosaurs was devastated by one single meteoroid that crashed on the surface of the planet. A little about me. As Harpreet ma'am has already mentioned about my awards and all. So these are the awards that I have received for different innovation projects earlier in my school college days. And this was a Moonbuggy project that I worked into. And some snaps from my mentor, Ralph Hackel from Germany, then my pilot trainer from Penemundi Islands. He's basically a Swiss pilot. He's basically from Switzerland and a very wonderful pilot. And I got to learn a lot of things while the whole journey of space exploration was there. Okay, now we'll be focusing on what's going on in UAE, right? We'll try to do that a bit. So most of you will not know this particular face, but some of you might come across this particular good-looking gentleman from UAE. He's basically from Dubai, if I'm not wrong. So he's the first person from UAE to step foot on the space. So in 2019, he was taken into the Russian space program. He, along with two more gentlemen, were the first of the space exploration program cosmonauts, and he was one of them. So in 2019, UAE first stepped their foot in space in the International Space Station through him. So he should be, and he is actually one of my good inspirations if I talk about. And for all of you who are listening to me, see, we are there, we are cross borders, we are there on a different country. And if you're looking for role models in your own country, so Hassan is one of them that you should look up to. And he's one of the inspirational and very loving character. I have seen his interviews. I do not know him directly, but I have come across a lot of his articles, and the way he is so humble, the way he and his friends, like they tried their level best to be selected for the Russian space program to go into International Space Station and explore the wonderful view from there. So in 2014 and 2013 and 14, under the leadership of your president and vice president, a lot of events were being conducted, a lot of meetings were there, a lot of symposiums were conducted, and they set timelines for different events. So in 2013, UAE government decided that we should be there, and we should be one of the top countries in the world that has reached space or explored the uncharted territories of space. So going by this particular vision that he had in 2014, you should be glad to know this. UAE has its own space agency. They started the whole thing. So the national space laws under UAE government's leadership came into being from 2014 onwards. This photograph is actually present, and this is the reception part from the UAE space agency's office that you can visit. It's open for public. And here you can see one gentleman going through the whole displays that are being kept there, and there are a lot of different like visual VR, AR, and other like options being available for visitors to look into. And when I saw the whole video, there were lots of interesting items that we can vouch through, but I did not put all of them in the slide. But if you get a chance, kindly do a lot of research on your existing space programs that are so ambitious and amazing, I would say. So, as mentioned by your president for advanced sciences, so the plans are such that currently from UAE itself, you have three satellites that's revolving around the orbit of the planet. And by 2024, you are planning to send in spacecrafts and other unmanned vehicles on the surface of the moon. So that's by 2024. So it's not far. I mean, UAE started the journey by 2013 with the discussion, and by 2024, you are already there. Like, and then vouching for the moon, vouching for another planets. That's in our horizon. So that's an amazing goal. And why did I wanted to put more of UAE's achievement? Because personally, I was not aware much about the activities, but when I did a lot of research about your programs and plans, there are a lot of things I'll share today itself that can help you out. Because my own journey, I have a lot of different activities that I was involved in. So that will maybe you can just Google it up. That would not take much time. But I wanted to stress on your own governments or your own people ambition and the plans that you have, and how can you fit in, and how can there is an unlimited amount of scope that you have present in the coming years from now. Okay, this is also another amazing thing that came in from the government. So by 2117, that is around 100 years from now, UAE has a plan to colonize Mars by keeping around 600,000 people on the surface of Mars. So they want to build a whole city on Mars. And this dream is not only from UAE, even SpaceX, Elon Musk, if you have heard about him, he has the same plans of colonizing Mars. Even Jeff Bezos, the the founder of Amazon, his company Blue Origin also has similar plans to colonize space. So they have designed a lot of space colonies and all, and very interesting if you go through it. So UAE's plan of colonizing Mars after 100 years may seem to be a very long plan, but you have to understand that if the government is planning to have their own like extended states and colonies in another planets, that means the work has already begun. And technically the work has begun in 2014 when the National Space Treaty, the National Space Law from UAE came into being. And under that particular law and under the provisions and different other things that came into being was that UAE is going to help other countries as well to prosper in this space journey along with them. And going by the plan that UAE has for the next 100 years, Emirates Mars mission came into being. So under this mission, I'll discuss a few things about it. And before that, we have to understand that why people are so focused about Mars, right? Why is Mars so important for us? Now the interesting thing is, right now, after 4 billion years from the point of life till today, Earth is very habitable. But due to pollution and global warming and a lot of things, there are chances and there are a lot of things that we have already lost, and it's not going to come back. But if we study the climate of Mars, it is so said that there are 99% chances that the situation or the environment that we're living on the planet of Earth now existed on the planet of Mars. And how can we prove that? In UAE itself, you can see that the presence of dust particles or sand particle is quite prevalent. The same dust storms are also seen on the surface of Mars that stays for months and months. So if there are presence of dust particles and there are areas on the surface of Mars where they are finding a lot of proteins, and proteins is basically the building block of a cell, and a cell is basically the building block of any life form. So if we go by the theory, then there are a lot of evidences that shows that there may be existence of life forms even at micro level on the surface of Mars, or there was the existence of life forms on Mars several billion years ago. But how do we know about it? How do we come to know that those theories are true, or those theories actually happen, right? And for that, we have to explore Mars. We have to land our vehicles. We have to stay on the planet's surface and do a lot of research. So coming back to the coming back to the promises made by UAE government, uh, and that's also very interesting and very nice to know about this, is that 2021 basically you are celebrating your 50th year of your existence, or your formation, or the whole association that has come into being. And UAE has become one of the 9 top countries, or one of the 10 top countries who has explored Mars. So we'll talk about your Mars mission as well. That's very interesting. And this whole vision of creating the whole space agencies in UAE started in 1976. So the journey of UAE is not far behind India. India also did not think about ISRO long before 1976. So I think there was a decade gap between India's plans and UAE's plan. UAE had the ambition of exploring outer space in 1976 onwards, but they required a lot of resources. They were looking into a lot of different angles, and that's how, after some time, or I would say quite an amount of time, in 2013 discussions happened. 14 outer space agency, that UAE space agency came into being. The national laws on space exploration came into being, and the whole committees and space centers were created in UAE itself. Okay, so and I think you should be proud to know that UAE has already sent their probes into Mars. So it is expected that by next month, just imagine, right? Just by next month of this year, your own inbuilt, or I would say your own indigenously built space probe will be orbiting the planet of Mars. And this whole mission started, or the whole rocket launch was done from Japan. uh, there's an island in Japan, so there the whole launch thing happened. And I like really the name that's given to the space probe. It's called Hope. So what I can understand is that by sending Hope to Mars, UAE is hoping to capture a lot of the space economy, lot of the researches, and they are willing, and it's there in the laws that they will be sharing it with other countries, specifically the Gulf nations. So there are 11 other countries in and around UAE that has partnered with the space program. And it's so amazing to understand the collaboration that has that has come together. And in the photograph you can see, this is the Hope Mars orbiting probe, and this is the actual photograph. So you can see that the size is not a big one, the weight of this is around, if I'm not wrong, around 10 pounds. And it was built in your own space center inside UAE, and then it was transported to Japan for the launch. So the space mission that you have sent to Mars basically has three main equipments, and I'll not go into technical part, but basically the objective is to understand the different elements that are present on the surface of Mars and study them. And those studies, those research findings will be shared with other countries, Gulf nations primarily, and other universities throughout the world. So that's the main objective. So Oman Sharaf is the project manager of Emirates Mars mission. And when the whole countdown began, and the space program started, when he was interviewed by a lot of different channels globally, and he proudly he mentioned that UAE's Mars mission is just the beginning. It's like a door that is that's about to open. Thereafter, once this mission has been completed, they have, I mean, your government has plans to colonize Mars by 2117. But besides that, you have bigger plans as well, which I'll be sharing with you sometime. But what he mentioned in the interview is, in the next few hundred years, UAE has opened its arms to take in the space scientists or space engineers or different forms of engineers who are interested in space exploration. So UAE government has basically promised that the amount of students or amount of like students who are studying in the space programs in UAE will be taken into under the employment scheme. So if any one of you or all of you would like to explore a job opportunity in UAE, your own space exploration programs, your government has assured you that you will have unlimited access to getting your kind of a job that you want inside the space exploration programs. And these are three universities that UAE Space Agency has currently tied up with. But there are 50 more companies in UAE that are working for space exploration. For your knowledge, there are three R&D centers that are dedicated primarily for the research of space exploration in UAE. There are three universities. So details, if you would like, I can share with you public in private, or I can send the details to the school administration. But just for your knowledge, there are three universities which are offering space exploration programs right now. So if you're in grade 12 and if you plan to study in space exploration programs, or if you want to be a part of this whole journey, we can show you, or your own government has made a lot of flagship programs that you can explore and be a part of this program without having to think that what will happen once you study the program and you'll have no job. So your country is the only country that has guaranteed space exploration related jobs in your own country, and you do not have to travel elsewhere, and you will get the opportunity while being in your own country to work with other organizations like NASA or ISRO or Russian space agencies and Japanese space agencies. And when I look up to the sky, I always understand that there is an infinite amount of resources, or the things that's available, and this is what does not allow me to sleep at night at times. I always think that, if tomorrow, if we happen to find some aliens, how would we interact? Tomorrow, if we find some other living organisms who are smarter than us, how would we interact, right? So if you have this kind of a brave mindset, the pathway becomes easy. And for UAE, I mean, like in India, we are so many of us, there's a huge competition, that I have to definitely admit. But UAE, you are new, and from your government's own expenses for space exploration programs from 2014 till 2020, your government has spent around 6 billion US dollars. And for the Mars rover, or the Mars probe that has been already sent to Mars, that's going to land, or that's going to circle the orbit of Mars by next month, your government has spent 200 million US dollars. That's not a small amount of money. That shows that your government is dedicated to exploring space, because the oil economy that's running right now may exhaust at some point, but the space economy that's about to come has no limitation, because the sky is infinite, the scopes are infinite, and with that, you should be happy and privileged to be a part of a country or a collaboration of a few nations where your governments are keen in taking you as their proud stakeholders, and that's how you can go forward. So with that, my I would end my presentation, or my thoughts on this. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that we might be able to inspire you and give examples from your own country, and the way they are taking forward the whole space journey. So yeah, thank you so much.